One more thing. Kevin Durant to the Mavericks? Kevin Durant to the Mavericks.
I'm here because I have to be.
Dallas is going to get a seat at the table.
That's it. It's me versus the machine. Don't let his lightness take away from his quickness.
You can rest later. You're young.
I'm here to color beer.
Wait. One more thing.
Yeah. Welcome. You're still locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is sponsored by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code Locked On NBA for $20 off your first purchase. Today's episode, we're getting into the rumors that the Dallas Mavericks are interested in Kevin Durant. Joining me, as always, the one we're thinking himself. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
Good debut by Max Christie.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. Duke can shoot the ball. So excited for him. Excited to have like another young piece in the rotation. 22-year-old or 21.
Like a Quentin Grimes type.
Like
Still salty about my boy.
Immediately thought about you, when the Grimes trade happened, and I was like, Nick, pour one out for Nick. And but hey, Caleb Martin, I like him, and I think he's gonna fit well in Dallas. The second round pick part didn't really get that, but I was actually fine with the player swap thing. I think Martin will be good in Dallas.
We talked about, I did an episode reacting to the Caleb Martin trade. Slightly, and I did an episode talking about the Sixers game, as well as we talked about Caleb Martin. We talked about the KD stuff a little bit as well in that episode too. So if you missed any of those, we got episodes like just every day. Just keep checking back on the apps, wherever you watch the show. Just keep coming back, and we'll just keep having episodes for you. But this one, let's talk about Kevin Durant. According to The Athletic, Sam Amick, league sources say the Dallas Mavericks, fresh off their Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis swap, grows. That sends shockwaves through the association, have dreams of adding Durant to their Davis, Kyrie, Irving led group, while the likelihood of Dallas pulling this off now appears unlikely. What are your thoughts on the Kevin Durant to the Mavericks thing?
I mean, it makes sense, right? I mean, if we're going to try to do the Nike connections with with Nico, if this is all the stuff that we're trying to trace, then definitely a relationship there between Kevin Durant and Nico Harrison. Going back for a while. So, I mean, as soon as I saw the reports of him, like, okay, like this makes sense. This makes sense for what Nico tries to do. He tries to make the big swings and some of the bigger names and all the stuff. And it makes sense timeline wise, as far as what he's already kind of deemed what the timeline is here. And especially when you swap out a generational star at 25 for a really good star at 31. And so especially when your two best players are over the age of 30, if you could possibly get arguably the best scorer of all time, one of them,
one of the best late 30-year-olds in the game ever.
Yeah, that's 36, and say, all right, we're really, really going all in at this title, then I see why Nico's trying to do it.
Slightly, and I just talked about this on the post-game show, and we came to this. The Mavs window is now. The Mavs shortened their window by doing the asinine trade and by sending Luka Doncic and getting Anthony Davis. Their window is now. They have a team that I think is going to be good. I don't know that it's a title contending team because of their offense right now, but it's a team that's going to be really good. Their defense is going to be good. When everyone's back, this is a team that's going to be really good. And they've got two all-star starter caliber players in Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, and sometimes that's what you need. And they've got good role players, PJ Washington, Gafford, Lively, Najee, Max Christie, Dinwiddie. Like they've got the pieces there. They just need the other scorer to make that offense go. You might as well. Like this is the window, right? This is the window right now. It's crazy. You'd have to send a lot to get him back, and it would turn into the 2023 Suns, the 2018 Nets. Like they've turned into these teams with the three stars again.
Yeah, I'll push back.
KD part of both of them, by the way.
I'll push back on that. Neither one of those teams had Anthony Davis down low.
Okay, but just in terms of the three big salaries on the team, and you have whatever else you have on the roster, it's just going to be that it would be really tight to try and piece something together and all that. But their window is now, and so I don't know. I get it. I don't think it'll happen though, because I think it's just going to be too hard salary wise and all that.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me, like, if in the next 24 hours KD is a Maverick. Like, it wouldn't shock me. it would definitely be, especially with how quick this stuff is heading. It is wild that if you go, a week ago or 3 or 4 days ago, it was, hey, it's Jimmy Butler in Phoenix and Jimmy's locked in on Phoenix, and like, can they pull that off? To now there's a world in which, oh, Kevin Durant, going somewhere else. I mean, he could very likely go to Golden State. But with Nico and Dallas, chasing too, I'm with you. It's like, if you can get Kevin Durant, you get Kevin Durant. Because you've kind of committed to this timeline. Now, I think the real question comes down to, can you trade for KD and keep Dereck Lively? That's the big one. And that's the, it's tough. That's the tough one. But like, okay, but I want to do this.
Well, the thing is, can you keep Dereck Lively? You have to put Gafford in the deal, salary wise. I just don't see how you could do it without.
And that's why I think you could get, and I could be wrong. We don't know what any type of trade package for KD would be, but I think you could get KD without giving up Lively. And it's all the rest of the salaries. It has to include PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and Clay for sure. All three of those for sure. And then you're looking at some combination of either Najee, and if it's Najee, then there's another salary has to go out for Phoenix, because Phoenix is, they have all the restrictions because of the second apron. So they have to match up the salaries perfect, right at that like 51, a little over 51 number. So there's a world in which you could, now Najee is the fourth player in that. Suns throw in a guy that makes like $2 million, and you're, hovering around both of that $53 million mark. You could take Najee out and maybe put Exum and Dwight in there. But at that point, like, you got to have bodies. Like, you got to
fill the roster
and try to keep Najee in that. So there's definitely a way. But here's the other thing. I'm going to negate that what I just said, because in the first part of that, because the Suns can't aggregate salaries. So they can't add another player with KD to come back to Dallas. So you would have to make a 3-team trade and send like Najee somewhere else, and some, all I have to say is it's not impossible. The Mavs could do it.
They can't aggregate salaries, meaning they can't send more than one player out, or they can't take more than one player in.
They can't send more players out with KD. So, like, on paper, Tyus Jones and KD for PJ Gafford, Clay, and Najee would be around that 53 million mark, but they can't add another player to KD. So here's the thing. Can you and should you make the trade if you could keep Dereck Lively and Max Christie, which Max Christie has to stay? So it's like, I'm like looking at the roster of players here. So it's like, and then you're forming this lineup of Kyrie, Max Christie, KD, AD, and Dereck Lively.
KI, MC, KD, AD, DL.
with off the bench, Dinwiddie, Caleb Martin, and then let's just say Maxey was the one that went out. Exum, Dwight Powell, Max Hardy. You're looking at vet minimums at that point.
So you'd get buyout guys at that point if you're still in the
under that second apron.
Yeah, which they would be. I don't think that there's.
Yeah, so like, how do you feel about a top 7 of Kyrie, Max Christie, KD, AD, Lively, Dinwiddie, and Caleb Martin?
I'll tell you coming up next.
You don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Today's Locked On Mavs One More Thing episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use that code Locked On NBA to get $20 off. If you're going to go somewhere, if you need a break, if you need to just do something else, go to Game Time, see what's available. They got the Game Time picks for you. They're curated deals, so you're getting the best picks that you can get, the best seats that you can get. Oh, man, they just put it right in front of my face. I know I said if you want a break, but Lakers at Mavs. I saw Jake Kemp talking about this. This is going to be a big game for a lot of people. Tickets starting at $164. Those are only going to go up. So check that right now. There's all kinds of other stuff you can check out too. If you do want to take a break, Mary J. Blige coming to Dickies Arena in Fort Worth. Back to the Future, the musical. I'm interested in that one. Go check out that. There's Shakira coming to DFW. All kinds of things on Game Time. So go check it out. See what's available. And the best part, you're covered with Game Time's lowest price guaranteed. If you find a better deal somewhere else, they'll refund you 110% of the difference. Plus, your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time. Easy cancellation options if something comes up. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed.
Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On Mavs. The one more thing, a bonus episode of Locked On Mavs. Check the QR code and links in the description for different ways to follow the show. If you want to support the show, text us, get text alerts from us on any Mavs rumors. If we see a rumor, we'll text it out. We sent this KD one as soon as we saw it, sent some thoughts, thoughts on the Caleb Martin trade and all that immediately. Thoughts during the game, after the games, every game, all that. Subscribe. Text the number 214-643-8637 or go to the link in the description. That's easier. Do that to support the show. All right, Isaac. A top 7 of Kyrie, KD, AD, Dereck Lively, Max Christie, Dinwiddie. Who's still left?
Caleb Martin.
Caleb Martin.
There you go. That's a top 7.
That's your top 7.
With well, I mean, if you want to do Exum
With
as your
Exum.
top 8.
One of the issues that we just talked about on the post game was the Mavs need another ball handler and they need one more offensive initiator. This answers that question in a really big way.
Yeah, I would say KD answers the initiator, another offensive option on that. But if you could do that, you do it. Like you do it right now. And
what if it costs all the picks you have? The three picks you can trade.
I mean, if they have that, I mean, you're putting them near the top of like title odds, right?
I know, but I go back to this, and this is a thought that
them versus Boston in a finals. Give me the Mavs in that.
KD, Kyrie, AD. They don't have an answer for AD. That's the thing. Like what Porzingis was doing in the Mavs last year, they just don't have an answer. The problem would be health. If Kyrie healthy, KD healthy,
yes.
Lively healthy, AD healthy, like, oh my gosh, you're talking about some risks there.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the.
But here's the thing that I just get so frustrated with. And Tim Cato has mentioned something about this, that Nico Harrison doesn't see himself long for this Dallas Mavericks GM job. And to just to mortgage the entire future on this like bought championship. If it even came to that, to go get KD and to do it, just go out there, get him and bring him in. Like, that's tough. And there's just something about me that's like, all right, go ahead, do it, because I just don't care. You know, I just don't care the same way that I did maybe like 4 days ago.
Yeah, it can't be picks and Lively. Like you can't do
so no picks. You're thinking no picks.
No, I'm just saying you can't give like your whole amount of picks and Dereck Lively in a trade for KD. You just can't do that. Like at least in that scenario, you at least have 2 like young pieces, and like, you know, Lively obviously has a higher ceiling than Max Christie, but it's like, okay, we still have Lively, Max Christie, and, you know, go from there. But I don't know. I just think if you can get what's like KD's trade value? Like, are you getting 4 first from someone for KD like at 36? Like it just, am I wrong for thinking it could be like those players and like one of those picks unprotected and like a protected pick or something like that? Like, I don't know.
He only has 1 more year in his deal, $54 million next year, which that's just an insane number. So
no option on that.
Yeah, no option. It's a guaranteed deal. He's 36. He'll be 37 at the beginning of next season. I don't know. I do think the Suns would want something back because they need to recoup assets. They have no picks. They have
that's the thing. It's like
Bradley Beal contract.
You're getting all these guys back. That's still going to help you win now.
Yeah, but they're not. No, no.
But I'm saying like those guys are win now players.
But they're not going to help you win now more than Kevin Durant would.
No. I mean, that's
they're looking to become more flexible and to kick the can down the road and try and figure out something later.
And then they'll trade Booker to Houston. God,
it's tough.
I think if they trade for KD, then you're looking at like similar deal, but then they try to line him and Kyrie back up contract wise, and it's like, KD signs an extension. Does KD get involved over the next 24 hours, or is he involved right now of like, hey, I got one more year after this, and then I want to play for a couple more years, but I'm not going to sign an extension with, X, Y, and Z. Does this feel like it only happens if KD is like, hey, I only want to go to Dallas?
Anything's on the table with Kevin Durant after the Golden State thing, and then the Nets thing, and then the Phoenix thing. It's like anything's on the table with him.
It feels like it's went so fast down, like it's went down the road so fast. It feels like he's gonna get traded. It just feels like all the signs are pointing to Golden State right now. I mean, the fact that he ruled out tonight and like doubtful for tomorrow. Stein is like in the midst of trade rumors that, and it's like, all right, it feels like it's headed down that path.
Well, John Gambadoro is the guy in Phoenix that seems to know the most about what's going on with them. He said like a little while ago, this is the KD to Golden State thing has taken on a life of its own. Talked to several teams, heard the same thing. One told me KD will most likely end up in Golden State with Butler to Phoenix. That doesn't really make any sense to me either, with them just trading out Kevin Durant for Jimmy Butler.
I don't really understand that, to be honest. Like, it just doesn't. I don't get that part, but who knows? It's Phoenix at that point. I mean, are you going to trade KD to Golden State, and then what are you going to get back? Kuminga, some picks,
Jamski maybe.
Yeah, Pods. And it's like, cool.
Pods, who they didn't want to trade for Larry Market, and then he got benched.
That is pretty wild to think about. But I am curious. We'll see what Dallas does over the next 2 days. That's one thing you can't say about Nico is he's not gonna not try, right? Like, he's gonna try for stuff.
I wish I wouldn't have tried.
Yes, I know.
I wish we could have just locked him in a room and just been like, it's fine. Just let the roster play out. Let's just see what it was like.
New wave of emotions today after the Luka presser, and it's just like Rob Pelinka looking like he just got off a Harley, thanking Nico and stuff. I'm like, when was the last time you seen a opposing GM thank the other GM for
a lot, but not like that.
Thanks for keeping it quiet. Oh, okay.
I saw a podcast clip from that guy, Joe Starr. Joe, have you ever seen this guy?
I don't know him.
He said every clip of Rob Pelinka makes it sound like he groomed Nico Harrison.
Oh God. Yeah.
Don't worry, don't tell anybody. It's like,
oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
That is next level.
Such a mess. Tell me your thoughts on the Caleb Martin trade. You kind of said at the beginning, but what was your reaction? What are your thoughts on that deal? I thought it was not great asset management, but the team they don't get that much better, but I think it makes them different because Caleb Martin can defend up a little bit better than Quentin Grimes can. You already got Max Christie, so it just makes them a little different. Maybe makes them a little bit more versatile defensive wise, but I didn't like the asset management of it.
I personally think Caleb Martin is better than Grimes. And then 2, I think this is the type of deal that they wanted to sign Grimes to, and he said no. And this $8 or $9 million deal, they wanted to lock him up, in those negotiations before that deadline. It passes. They didn't land on that. Grimes wanted to bet on himself to make a little bit more money than that. And they looked across the league and it's like, well, Caleb Martin, he might be better than Grimes, and he's at the contract number that we're trying to get him at. And I think that's kind of simply how they looked at it. And the pick stuff is tough because that was gonna be a good pick.
It's the 37th pick right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a second round pick, but still, it's like that's one of the valuable second round picks. So, but when you look at roster wise, even if they don't do something, swing for something big or something, like you're looking at suddenly they have a wing combo here off the bench in Max Christie and Caleb Martin.
Yeah,
that are bigger wings, play defense. Caleb Martin, we know we've seen the playoff run and all that stuff. Like, he can create. He's a knockdown shooter. Like, you didn't have these two guys to come off the bench. This like wing depth now that you have, and they both make around $7, $8, $9 million each. So good numbers in a position that everybody needs. And yeah, they're the type of players that Dallas has been targeting. This is why we've talked about Caleb Martin twice on 2 different podcasts before they traded for him. And like, dude, yeah, he would fit great in here. This is what they're going after. So, yeah, I like to trade. A little too rich with the pick, but I can get over the second round pick because I think Martin's better than Grimes.
One of my other points was I felt like the Mavs played scared because they didn't think they could re-sign Grimes in the offseason.
I mean, I think anytime you move past that deadline of somebody being a restricted free agent and you can't come to terms on a deal, then you both sides kind of know what, like there was some negotiations there. Both sides kind of know
restricted.
what you're going for. If Grimes is like, no, I want this number. And then you're like, well, I want that number. Then it's like, all right, well, I don't know if much of that's going to change before the summer. You're still going to want that number then. And yeah, it could have been like, hey, go out and get the number and all that stuff. But don't want to have a tumultuous summer.
Instead, he's going to have a tumultuous life.
Spring.
It's just not going to stop for him.
Nico traded the tumultuous summer for springtime.
For a tumultuous legacy. He's going to be known as the GM that traded Luka Doncic for the rest of his life. There you go. Go listen to our other episodes we did today. I did a full reaction on the Caleb Martin trade, talked about what he could bring to the team, talked about the Sixers game with slightly all kinds of stuff there.
One more thing. The intro. I do think they still need more offense. Like Caleb Martin.
Yeah, we did that too.
I do think Caleb Martin is a better offensive player than Quentin Grimes, but I still think they need more offense. Like they need some more creation there, or else we're gonna get a ton of Spencer.
Yeah, Slightly said they'll miss the play-in if they don't get another ball handler.
Oh, I don't know about that.
He's like, this is my hot take right now.
They'll miss the play-in with AD and Kyrie. Like if they're, I mean, yes, with injuries, but I don't think that they're missing the play-in if both AD and Kyrie.
Well, they're missing the play-in right now. They're 11th.
AD hasn't played. Shout out to some of the tweets that are like, what about this defense?
Cannot.
Mavs defense sucks. This is what they're going for. Anthony Davis hasn't played.
Can't believe some of the things I've read.
No.
PJ wasn't playing either. The Mavs' 3 best defensive players weren't playing in this game.
All right, my other favorite tweet from tonight now was Joel Embiid. The people were like, dude, clutch bucket, big time Embiid.
Over Kessler Edwards.
Are you serious? Our center was Kessler Edwards and Najee Marshall because literally anyone over 6'10" isn't playing. Like everybody's hurt or traded away.
Ridiculous.
Like, I hope he can score. It's like saying like, I hope I can score him the little Tykes goal on my 6-year-old son. Like, I hope I can score on him.
Yeah, I want to give him credit.
Come on.
There you go. Check out some of our other episodes we did today. Check the links in the description for more. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked on Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.
So KD
trade yet?